Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Monday morning. Welcome, everybody, to a new week. It is Hot Mic on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV in Sioux Falls, KMBN in Rapid City, and Inforum.com. Happy Monday for the 8th of June, 2026. Ready to start a new week here in our palatial studios. Hope everyone had a tremendous weekend, enjoyed the heat. Looks like we got it coming back tomorrow with our ears up for maybe some nasty weather coming our way. But then after that, some temperate stuff. You know, the Red Hawks are back home this week, this time of year when people start going out to the ballpark and enjoying that. So hopefully we're able to do that coming up here this week, because we've earned it now as we made it to the second full week of June. A busy weekend, a lot to unpack. We'll try and do that the best we can. It actually started when we signed off the air Friday. Invariably, I mean, I'm not pining to go an extra hour, but if we did, the amount of stories we actually would be able to cover on our show would exponentially grow, probably by double. Point being, as I signed off Friday at 10:57, we are officially done every day. And a little Friday news dump. Normally the NFL does this. The NCAA now has made a habit of releasing some rather large news on Fridays. I can remember in March is when we found out the Football Oversight Committee got wind of the proposal to have transitioning FCS teams go to FBS without any wait. That happened on a Friday. And now this past Friday, we got not one but two massive stories dropped in our laps at about 11:30. The first one concerns the 5-for-5 eligibility, which got tweaked thanks to the powers that be at college hockey, that now it seems like this is on the fast track to happen later this month. 2 weeks from tomorrow is when the Division I cabinet will meet, and they're going to sign off on the 5-year eligibility clock starting this fall. Tip of the cap to the NCAA hockey people on this, that they changed the wording on it, that now it does not mean starting with your 19th birthday and your high school graduation, whichever comes first. Now it is either your 19th birthday or whenever you decide to enroll in college, which the hockey people and I think some of the service academies were not thrilled about that. We got to get Schloss on, because Schloss is the main conduit to all the college hockey people, and maybe we'll do that sometime later this week. But that was the first one. The second, and that involves everybody, you know, in the Division I world that we talk about. The second one was much more closer to home, and that came out of the NCAA offices in Indianapolis, that the University of North Dakota's football program has been placed on probation for the upcoming year after a tampering violation that occurred. And the specifics on it are not great, but the lingering question I had not only Friday afternoon into Saturday into Sunday on this, because my timeline just got overrun with comments from each fan base, which invariably happens on this, is this happens literally everywhere. It happens everywhere. So why did UND get picked on this? That is the question that I've still left with. I don't have a great answer on it. We're going to try and answer it today. I don't think we're going to get very far, but we got to ask the question going forward. And the money, people will say, well, it's $25,000. It's nothing to shake a stick at, which is not. The penalties are the big part of this. It doesn't involve not being part of the postseason, but it does have a big impact on off the field in terms of recruiting and portal, which we'll get to coming up later on in our first hour. So that was our first, I thought, major story that happened on Friday. Then later Friday, I was over at Island Park here, right by our palatial studios, taking in Kids Fest as the Jackman was down there. The bat phone starts going crazy because there was a rather large commitment in our backyard in the form of Drew Kessel, the outstanding Fargo South tight end, who announces that he is committed to North Dakota State football, which is a big bleeping deal. That wasn't the only big part of the story. As I interviewed Drew on Friday night, he drops this nugget that he's not playing at Fargo South this fall. He's going to play for Moorhead. So not only did he make one big decision, he made two. So we'll chat about that coming up later on. And lastly, the video game story we talked about Friday when the trailer dropped. I pursued it a bit more Friday, and the story was on Inforum yesterday. You can check it out now. We're going to have more on this as we get closer to the release date. It's fascinating to me. The college football 27 video game, North Dakota State's going to be involved in it, and it's beyond just the Bison being in it. The more I found out about this, the more financially this is a big deal for the school and for the athletes, which we'll get to coming up later on. So that was just Friday, let alone what happened Saturday and Sunday. Friday night, the Knicks win Game 2 of the finals. We got Game 3 tonight. New York City is just going to be unbelievable tonight, regardless if the president was going to be there, which I'll get my thoughts on that in a minute. We have an unbelievable Stanley Cup final game on Saturday night. Goes double overtime. That I may or may not have missed the game-winning goal from Vegas after Carolina rallied from 4 goals down to force overtime. And then the Golden Knights win it to go up 2-1 there, with Game 4 coming up tomorrow. So, yeah, we had a little bit of everything. In fact, when we got to Sunday, got to yesterday, it felt like we were kind of slowing down. And then the college baseball tournament gave us an overdrive, which we'll show you in a second. And in the whole aspect of that, the Twins are playing. And the Twins yesterday wrapped up their 17th straight day with a game. That's a long time to go to work. 17 straight days of working, and I know they're playing ball. I get it, but that's a long time to go without a day off. I don't know if they look like they were out of steam, but the Royals certainly didn't help things yesterday. Twins got out to a 1-0 lead before Kansas City would take a 2-1 advantage in the 5th inning. You see how they tied it. This is how they go ahead off the bat of Maikel Garcia to make it a 2-1 Minnesota lead. Connor Prelip started this game. He was lifted after 77 pitches because he's on a pitch count. Starling Marte, former Met great. Why can't the Mets find players like him? 3-run bomb. 440-foot shot to center. It's 5-1. 6-1 when the Twins finally decided to get back into the game. Josh Bell launches one. This is a blast. That's out to the patio area where you walk in. 442-foot home run. It's 6-4. Victor Caratini goes up the middle for a base hit. Trevor Larnach would come around and score. All of a sudden, hey, this is a 6-5 game. This is on Lucas Ursig, who's one of the best closers in the game. He would get Brooks Lee to pop out down the left field line to end the game. Royals win it by the final count of 6-5. The Twins have lost now 10 of their last 14 games. As you wake up this morning, they are officially 7 games under 500. Again, they're better than Kansas City. Kansas City's 12 games under 500, and yet the Royals look like they were light years ahead of the Twins this weekend. A much-needed off day today after 17 in a row. They will play a series with the Tigers starting tomorrow. Now, I was listening to the post-game download on the radio yesterday and found this really interesting from Josh Bell, who was speaking with members of the media. And said that, we've got to start playing together, playing better together as we go forward here over the next month and a half. And I'm paraphrasing here. I've got to play better with the trade deadline coming up. And he said the words trade deadline. And even Mark Janowski, who's the radio producer / host of the Twins radio network, he even paused before he came back on the air yesterday. I don't know if anybody else heard this. I did as I was driving to get dinner last night. I'm like, what did he just say? And it totally sounded like that he's looking out for himself, figuring, hey, I got to get my you-know-what together because the Twins are probably going to trade me before the deadline. To hear somebody so frank about it it literally caused me to wow, did I hear what I think I heard? And he definitely said that. Bell, for his troubles, by the way, is currently hitting .224 on the year, has 6 home runs and 36 runs batted in. He's played in 64 games, so he's been durable. He's been out there. I think many Twins fans would say he was the high-profile signing in the offseason that Minnesota had. But, again, it was so jarring to hear him say that yesterday. I was just like, did I hear that right? So, again, if the players understand full well what's going on, I guess we shouldn't be naive. And I applaud Corey Provis when he was on our show on Friday, and if you missed it, to go back, and he was pretty forthright on the comments on Royce Lewis. Now, granted, and he was dead on. Lewis got called up again after our show on Friday because of, I think, because of his performance and, frankly, because of the injuries that have gone down with the Twins. Now, did he come back and hit the cover off the ball? No, which didn't think would happen. In fact, here's what he did since coming back up. Saturday, 0 for 3 with a walk and a strikeout. Yesterday was 1 for 4. So his entire time in the minors lasted all of 2.5 weeks after the debacle he had against the Brewers in that Sunday where he struck out 3 times and even hit the ball, a couple of them. So I just shook my head. I'm like, wow, did I hear that right? And I absolutely did on what Josh Bell had to say yesterday. Maybe again, you go 17 days in a row, you're probably at the end of your rope there. Like, can I go home? I just want a day off before we have to travel to Detroit. That's what is on tap for the Twins. Meanwhile, if the professional game is not what you want to see right now, I offer you the college game because we are now down to, well, we got 6 of the 8 teams lined up for Omaha in the College World Series. Last weekend in the regional round, just gong show baseball where you had walk-offs, you had the most ridiculous finishes, you had teams you didn't expect to win and knock out the high majors did. This weekend in the Super Regionals, it's best of 3. And you had maybe not nearly as theatrical finishes, but you certainly had some fantastic performances and some great finishes. We'll go around yesterday to show you what happened. We'll start with Georgia and Mississippi State. This series was absolute gong show material for the 3 games that they played, or 2 games, they played in Starkville. They combined for 21 home runs. Let's show you first what started here. Georgia, Mississippi State. Pick it up, bottom of the 8th. Georgia is up 8-7 on Mississippi State until this 2-run home run puts the Bulldogs in front 9-8. Now, granted, Mississippi State has to win to get to a Game 3, which will be played today. Georgia says, okay, well, we're not done. Base hit in the top of the 9th inning. That ties the game at 9. Just, this series was off the charts crazy. Still tied at 9. Top of the 10th. Why not? This is the 21st home run hit in the 2 games played in Starkville. Just crazy. So Georgia now goes in front by 2. It's 11-9 going to the bottom of the 10th. Just an insane scene. You don't think they care about their baseball in the South. You found out differently. Now Mississippi State puts 2 runners on. Bottom of the 10th inning. The winning run is at the plate. Georgia gets the strikeout. The Bulldogs are off to Omaha for the first time since 2008 as they beat Mississippi State 11-9 to win the series 2-0. That's just the appetizer. Now let's go to Chapel Hill. USC playing North Carolina. North Carolina is the 5th-ranked team in the country. Macon Winslow with a base hit. North Carolina's down 1. You know this guy, Jake Schaffner, former Summit League first-teamer, North Dakota State standout. He plays for North Carolina. In the bottom of the 9th inning with runners on the corners, that's deep enough. That's going to score a run. We're tied up at 3. 3 batters later, Owen Hill is at the plate. He's North Carolina's best hitter. Pops one up. Now watch this down the left field line. Maddox Risky has got a play on it, but can't make the catch. Watch again. He's right there and can't come up with it. So North Carolina is still alive. Hull on the very next pitch. Of course, what happens in baseball. This is hammered to left center and out of the reach. That's going to score Carter French, and North Carolina will go to Omaha. Our guy Schaffner will play in the College World Series 4-3. North Carolina will get Ole Miss, who has another Bison on their roster. Page's Landon Koenig pitches for the Rebels. Then late last night, Oregon faced Texas. This game in Austin, but Texas is the road team. They were down in the top of the 8th inning. Adrian Rodriguez goes the other way. That scores 2. Texas goes in front 6-5. Mind you, they are the visitors, but playing at home last night. Just a crazy scene. So now all they have to do is close it out in the top of the 9th inning. Oregon had led the entire way in this game. This, the final out, and Texas is going to Omaha as the Longhorns win it 6-5. They will play in the College World Series as well, joining the likes of West Virginia, who made it there with their victory. Ole Miss, I mentioned as well. They got there. And the Troy Trojans, stand-up Jamal Kennedy, his team is going to Omaha. Now we have 2 spots left. There were 2 games yesterday that were suspended because of weather. Oklahoma leads Kansas 8-1. That game was stopped because of rain. If Oklahoma wins that game, they go to Omaha. The other game is Alabama and St. John's. Alabama leads that game 7-2 in the 8th inning. If Alabama wins that game, they will go to Omaha as well. So we could know the field relatively early today, or it may take a little bit, because if Kansas and St. John's rallies, then we'll get winner-take-all game 3s in that. Dynamite weekend on the Diamond there. That was a lot of fun. And we can only hope Omaha will be just as good. But we do have a couple of connections that are going to be playing at the College World Series. One local guy from North Dakota, Class B guy. Another, and Jake Schaffner, who was just a fabulous baseball player. I remember we had Jake on, and I think I said after our interview, I'm like, I don't know how long this guy's going to be here. He was here 2 years. He was a 2-time Summit League first-team member, and now he's part of North Carolina's loaded lineup that'll play in Omaha. We're going to try and get both those guys on the show this week. We have a packed Monday to start, though, here. Our guest lineup is brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. We'll start things with our best of the weekend. We do that each and every Monday. Tom Miller will then follow that at 9:35 from the Grand Forks Herald. Tom has been all over the story of what's going on with University of North Dakota football program and how they handle this and what this means both on and off the field. We'll talk to Tom about that at 9:35. Jeff Kolpack will be with us in studio, as he always is, at 10 o'clock. Jeffrey had a chance to visit with North Dakota State's new president, Marshall Stewart. We'll get his thoughts on that, and also the big recruiting news over the weekend for Bison football. We'll do that at 10 o'clock. And at 10:35, we will have him today. We were supposed to do it on Friday. Kindred's Riley Sunram will join us after a workout on Friday. We're getting ready for another week in year 3 of playing for the Minnesota Golden Gopher football team. He will join us at 10:35. So looking forward to our conversation with the former Kindred Viking state champion. That and a heck of a lot more here on a busy Monday. We'll take our first break. We come back. We'll salute our best of the weekend, including what the Spuds did on the track this weekend in the Twin Cities. Hot Mic is off and rolling. We're back on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com. All right, welcome back, everybody. It's time for our best of the weekend. We do it each and every Monday at 9:20. If ever I can infuse best of the weekend with any sort of jersey or uniform news, that's like a double whammy. And yesterday, right after I found out that Josh Bell, as I was listening to that, the inbox blew up with the Minnesota Timberwolves rebrand for the 26-27 season. Now, before we show them to you, full disclosure, if they were going to do anything resembling of what their original uniform look was going to be an A+ winner for me. And second, the rebrand has to continue with, the actual team as well, because they need to change a few of the members. And I love the press releases when they talk about uniforms because they get so entwined with it. It's just new uniforms. But it matters to people. So if you've missed it, here it is. This is what the Wolves are going to rock next season, starting with a all-white. And that combo is fantastic. That is what I've been aching for here. Now, that you remember, the Wolves wore that a few years ago, like a throwback one, when they went to the Western Conference Finals and lost to Dallas. You see Jaden McDaniels modeling that. Now, there's what I can see Pooh Richardson and Doug West wearing those jerseys there. The blue one, I may have to buy that with an Anthony Edwards. That absolutely. You can see, Eric, if you could drop the super on us, that'd be great. So we can see the trees on there with the letter M. The trees was important to have them back. The email says, and there's the third jersey with the black, that the direction grew out of years of fan feedback and the franchise history that still resonates most with Timberwolves fans today. The trees are now woven into the all-new identity alongside evolved versions of the franchise's original blue, green, and white color palette. This is not a look back. It reflects where Timberwolves basketball stands today. Bold, expressive, and deeply connected to the fans and state that have shaped the franchise from the very beginning. You can see on the court design, let's go. You got the trees on there, the old school Wolves across center court. There you look at that. That's fantastic. That is A+, everything about this, because the old uniform combo, I would dare to say maybe the worst in the NBA. Outside of the Prince jerseys, the purple ones, those are sweet. And hopefully they're back because those are their city jerseys. These are by far winners, not even close. They had a huge deal yesterday at Target Center. It was packed for fans to go take a look. If they didn't sell out of those blue hoodies, I'd be stunned because those were sweet. I nearly dropped $150 last night just seeing them for the first time. Matt Caldwell, the CEO of the Wolves and the Lynx, says this franchise means something different to every generation of fans. We wanted this new look to reflect the pieces of Timberwolves basketball fans here have always connected with, while always also feeling true to the team and culture surrounding this franchise today. More than anything, we wanted to create something that reflects where this organization is headed and what the entire state can rally behind. The one thing on the logo, which we didn't see in that, they added the trees to the Howling Wolf, which, and it's, honestly, after that, it looks almost the same. I'm not sure why they couldn't go back to the original Wolf logo, because that one is sensational. As it is, I'm not going to complain. It's a solid rebrand. Well done, Wolves, on that one. Well done is also in order for the Moorhead Spud boys track team. What a weekend that they had down at St. Michael Albertville at the state track meet, led by Minnesota Golden Gopher commit Zach Walker, who was a one-man wrecking crew. Here on the long jump, He wins the state championship there. He wasn't done. He added a second-place finish in the 200 and a fourth-place finish in the 100 meters, propelling the Spuds to a second-place finish overall for the boys of the state track meet. Walker went 23 feet, 3.75 inches on his final attempt to win the long jump. Shadrach Zhao, who took third place in the long jump at 22.10.75. Minnetonka's Grady Gibbenheim finished second, or else it would have been Spuds go 1-2 in the long jump. Walker took second of the boys 200 meters in a time of 21.332. And that's the thing on Walker, who burst on the scene, I'd say this time last year in track. And I think if you go back and when we're talking about his football recruiting journey, NDSU offered him last summer, I want to say last July, maybe last August, that I think some were thinking, well, maybe he'll do track, not sure how he'll do in football. And certainly we saw what he did as part of Kevin Feeney's football team a year ago was electric there in helping Moorhead make the state championship game. And obviously he ended up committing to the University of Minnesota last month and then showed off his wares on the track. He is a phenomenal athlete. Congratulations to him and all the local champs. Ashley Manville from Barnesville won the pole vault in Class A. We had a bunch of high finishers. Inforum.com has got everybody that had a big weekend there. Frankly, I wish Minnesota would do as big a job as we do with North Dakota track, because you saw what they had, and it's fine. They just don't put the resources in like we do, so it's too bad because there's a bunch of local competitors that had some nice weekends down at STMA. Finally, we talked about this off the top. I know it happened Friday, but Friday is now in the summertime count as the weekend. At least they do for a lot of people. The Drew Kessel story is monstrous. It's monstrous for two reasons. A, Kessel announced he's going to go play football at NDSU. That's huge for the Bison for a couple of reasons. A, he had 15 offers from FBS schools. He said no to the University of Michigan. You may have heard of them. He said no to the University of Wisconsin. You may have heard of them. He said no to the University of Minnesota. You may have heard of them. On top of Washington, Northwestern, Iowa State, Kansas State. Big deal. His highlight reel is phenomenal. He's 2 inches taller than his older brother Reese, and Reese is a large human. Reese is 6'5". Drew is all of 6'7". He goes up and catches the ball. There's a reason why he had all those offers. So if you just want to put, and we'll save the recruiting stuff and the local angle for Kolpack when he joins us in our second hour. See that? I mean, that's a fabulous play. Now, the other tidbit of this is that he's not going to play at Fargo South next season. He's going to transfer and play for Moorhead, that team I just talked about with Zach Walker and Jet Feeney and Tay Rich and David Mack. Yeah, this guy is going to play on that team. They have 5 Division I commits on that roster now. You can say whatever you will about that. That is as loaded as a team as there's going to be in the state of Minnesota. And they're going to be right across the river playing for the Spuds. And I had a couple people comment to me on Friday, well, wait a minute, Fargo South, they play in the highest level in North Dakota. Remember, South does not. South is a 2A school. They've opted to play 2A since we went to this alignment, 6 years ago. Fargo North went down. They're back up after the success that the Spartans had. But he's going to play for Moorhead. Much more on Drew's decision coming up in our second hour. We'll have Drew on this week as well. Either my conversation I had with him on Friday, or if we can get something newer with him, we'll do that. But it's a big deal. I'm still trying to figure out what the bigger one is. If he's going to play for Moorhead next year, or he's going to play for the Bison in a couple. We'll try and decipher that coming up at our next hour. We'll break. We come back. Our guy Tom Miller joins us on the latest on UND football and where they go from here after the NCAA hit them on Friday. That's coming up when Hot Mike returns after this.
This is Hot Mike with Dom Izzo, presented by Northwestern Mutual.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're off and rolling here on a Monday morning. As I mentioned off the top of the show, we were ready to cruise into the weekend, and then normally, as I mentioned, the NFL saves for its Friday news dumps, but apparently the NCAA wanted to one-up them and has over the last few weeks, and one right in our own backyard, especially for our next guest who I'm not sure if he was in a weekend mode yet, but it hit about noon on Friday and changed everything as we welcome Tom Miller from the Grand Forks Herald back onto our show to give us more on what went down with UND and the tampering penalties. First, thanks for doing this. Second, give me your perspective when you heard about this coming down the pipe, and you can take it from there.
Yeah, just kind of caught wind about it on Thursday that an announcement of some sort was going to come Friday. Kind of giving some of the background, some of the details involved, just so I kind of knew what to expect a little bit. And then about, Friday around noonish, whatever it was, saw that the NCAA tweet kind of came out, and then was able to dig in from there. And there wasn't a ton to dig into because the NCAA report was pretty detailed, I thought. So it was kind of just a matter of, trying to get a comment from UND, which posted official releases from Bill Chaves and Eric Schmidt to their website, and kind of rounding that up. But there wasn't, from a reporter perspective, there wasn't a ton to do on this, just because the NCAA released such a detailed report.
So it was cornerbacks coach Travis Steps from the NCAA, quote, had impermissible recruiting conversations with a student athlete from another school who had not been entered into the transfer portal. Tom, we found out the NCAA release, apparently it was a student athlete that eventually went up to Lindenwood. Give us the background on what you know and what the NCAA said on what went down here and the impermissible contact.
Yeah, it sounds like an athlete who maybe had been recruited through the original high school recruiting cycle by Steps, had reached out to UND's longtime cornerbacks coach, who came under Bubba Schweigert, who was retained by Eric Schmidt. They kind of held some similar background there from Southern Illinois. It sounds like Coach Steps then communicated back and forth a little bit and asked about, or the kid had offered to send practice film and transcripts. And basically the reason it was uncovered was because Coach Steps then forwarded the transcript from the junior college player to UND's compliance department, which then said, whoa, we can't talk to this kid right now. He's not in the transfer portal right now. He's at another university. And so UND's compliance department self-reported itself to the NCAA. And, that's how this ended up getting to be where it's at.
So from what the release said, that Eric Schmidt did not know anything about this. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it sounds like, kind of Coach Schmidt was outside of this interaction, and the NCAA and UND, both parties, agreed that Coach Schmidt shouldn't personally receive any penalties through this deal. Although obviously, with the penalties the NCAA handed down, they will be, Coach Schmidt impacted a little bit.
Totally. I'll get to that now because it's a $25,000 fine. People will see the money. The money is nothing. It's probation, which to me jumped off the page initially. I'm like, okay, what does that mean, Tom? And I know I got besieged with it. You probably got a tenfold, because did that mean UND was going to be postseason ineligible? But that's not the case.
No, from everything I've gathered, probation simply means don't do anything else
Don't do it
wrong.
again. Right.
Yeah. So, initially when you hear the word probation, you're dealing with tampering. Those are some dangerous words in college athletics. But in the reality of it, probation really just means, we're watching you now, so to speak. So, probably the worst thing about it is you're probably now looking over your shoulder, a little bit extra if you're Eric Schmidt and his coaching staff.
The one that jumped out to me on the penalties here is a 1-week ban on recruiting communications for the football program during the January 2027 notification of transfer window. So that's big, Tom, that they can't talk to anybody when that portal opens in January. That's a long time, too. 7 days may seem like nothing, but that's a long time to not have any communication with anybody in the portal.
Yeah, some of those penalties are a little more harsh than others.
Yes.
And I think they're going to have to work pretty hard to be super upfront to make sure that kids and their families dig into the details and don't just skim the headlines on this one.
Right.
Because the headline and the PR hit are far more damning than the details. If kids know the full extent of maybe the climate, what took place, why it took place, kind of the self-reported nature of it, I think recruiting might survive okay on that, but you certainly don't want people to catch half the story and hope they pass on you just because they only know a little bit.
It says a 3% reduction of official paid visits as well in football for this upcoming year, and that's those are critical. Those are the ones most of the time, and you well know from doing recruiting stories all the time, that most of the ones that they get on campus, normally they say yes, and if there's less coming, that's a hit there.
Yeah, no, I absolutely think the penalties, I think they feel like they can live with them, but I think definitely, like I said earlier, the information piece is something they're going to have to work really hard to make sure that everybody knows where they stand and why they stand where they stand.
In your opinion, and this is only your opinion for this question, is Travis Stepp's job in jeopardy you think in any case here of what went down, or no?
Well, that's a good question. I don't think so. Just because of the body of work and then the respect that he has through decades with the ties here that dates all the way back to Southern Illinois. He's been here in Grand Forks since 2014, and I think there's a pretty good bond there with Coach Schweigert and with Coach Schmidt, and clearly he's on a little bit of on the watch list when it comes to the NCAA, and I don't expect it to become an issue again with Coach Schmidt, but obviously if anything else were to arise, it would probably be a pretty quick parting of ways.
Tom, the bigger picture here is, and I said this off the top, and you and I were visiting off air, this happens everywhere. It literally has since the inception of the portal, and certainly when NIL came into it, that schools reach out all the time. And I thought initially, this is an interesting battle that the NCAA wants to pick with the University of North Dakota, where it certainly we know it happens at the bigger schools. I have to imagine they can't say it, but maybe the underlying tone from the school is like, okay, everybody does this, and we got picked on because we self-reported it.
Yeah, I think there's just a general vibe that UND might have been going 56 and a 55, while the rest of Division I football is whizzing around at 120. So, it was put on a tee for the NCAA. North Dakota did it to themselves, made a mistake, owned up to it. I don't know. I'd be curious if this situation played out at 100 Division I schools. I'm not saying it's damning of the compliance department or it's virtuous of the compliance department, but I'd like to know if 100 schools had this exact situation happen, how it would play out. So I think there's a little bit of an eye roll involved here that, you look at the calendar and all the flight trips that are lined up immediately, and you kind of wonder, boy, how'd that take place if no conversations were happening?
Correct.
So it's a silly system that everybody's playing in.
Well, and I bring this to you. I know you may not be connected to everything, but the news just broke that Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby has just been ruled eligible to play. He got an injunction from a court in Texas. This is a guy who has admittedly bet on his own team, and they're going to let this guy play, and then we have something like this, which is, and this is my opinion, small potatoes that happens everywhere. This is the ironic nature of what we're dealing with in college sports right now.
I not to be Allen Iverson practice here, but like we're talking about emails of a junior college kid who went to Lindenwood, right? Like I understand maybe the spirit of the rules and all that. I don't need to go to bat for North Dakota by any means, but it does feel silly when you're talking about the things that have really dominated the headlines. And today we're talking about a back and forth email with the position coach at University of North Dakota.
It just I saw that right before you came on. I'm like, boy, that is the juxtaposition of what we're dealing with right now in college sports, where Sorsby looks like he might get to play, and he literally was betting on his team. Is just wild. Where do things go from here? Now that this is over with, I know they're in the middle of off-season workouts and all that. Where does UND go from here, Tom?
Yeah, well, it was interesting. One thing I was thinking about too is, it was a Friday news dump, right? But we're at the time of year where there's not a whole lot going on. So it's stayed in people's minds and in people's mouths. So I'm guessing North Dakota's looking to change the message and see what they can do to get people talking about something else. Would be my guess. Yeah. That's probably where you go from here.
Well, I got you here. It's been, I think, a pretty darn good, successful summer on the recruiting trail. Give us an update on what we had Caden Gutzmer on from Minnetonka, the quarterback that Schmidt got. This has been, I would say, pretty successful. The guys they've targeted, who they've been able to get a commitment from.
Yeah, I would say, the 2027 class is up to 11 kids. And, it used to be newsworthy that a kid was going to choose North Dakota over multiple offers from other Dakota schools or the FBS. And, that's probably happened in almost every case here. And so, the 26 and the 27 class have been different in terms of competing offers. And we started seeing it a little bit opening the door in 25. I talked about how the facility started to change the game a little bit. I'm very curious to see the 26 kids get on campus, because if we're talking about how it's a different level of recruit, well, I'm curious to see what that looks like in real life here. After 25, you had Grant Nolan start at corner for you, and you got a couple kids here and there. Like, will we see that major difference in 26 here once fall camp starts? I think that's going to be pretty entertaining to watch play out.
I appreciate you doing this, man. Get back and watch little man play some hoops, and have a great summer. We'll catch up down the road, okay?
Yeah, 6U basketball is must see action, so I appreciate it, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. There he goes. Tom Miller joining us from the Grand Forks Herald. Give us the lowdown on what the latest on UND. And, again, I'm reading this, and literally as Tom was coming on, I see the note from Pete Thamel, the tweet that Brendan Sorsby has got a preliminary injunction. That's the Texas Tech quarterback who admittedly bet on his own team. And again, UND doesn't need me to go to bat for them, although some group of the Fighting Hawk fans think I'm fanboying for NDSU when I tweeted out the story. That, again, it seems sloppy would be the best way to describe it. I think that he certainly knew better. To Travis Steps on this, but to Tom's point, like how many times have we seen a story report? Heck, it's happened down here where, okay, well, he went in the portal and then a day later he's where? How did that happen, especially if there couldn't be any contact until he went in? And the answer is, of course there was contact. Of course there was tampering. It's only because UND reported on themselves that they got banged for it. It's unbelievable. It's hypocritical to the nth degree, but that's exactly what went down here. And again, you can't do it. And I would, for the compliance department, I'm sure that they're like, well, we got to do this because it's brought to our attention. But how many would be as virtuous as that to self-report? I don't think the answer is many, my opinion. We'll break. We come back. We'll wrap up our first hour. Got a little bit of breaking news to share as well on the college football front, local college football front. We'll do that when Hot Mike returns on WDAY Extra after this. All right, welcome back, everybody, as we wrap up our first hour. A little breaking news coming out of our friends in Jamestown, where there's some change of leadership going on at the university there. If you missed it late last month, athletic director Austin Heeb left to take the deputy AD job at South Dakota State. He's Justin Sells now, right-hand man, and tip of the cap to Austin, who did a fabulous job the 4 years he was at Jamestown, leading the school through the NAIA transition to Division II, which is no easy task there. He takes over, I believe, for Slade Larscheid, who was the deputy AD at SDSU. Now is, it's going to bug me on where he's at now. But he's now, Austin Heeb is now Justin Sells, right, man. So Jamestown needed an athletic director, and they stayed within. They are moving head football coach Brian Mistro to take over as athletic director. That was announced about 20 minutes ago that became official, that he is now AD at UJ. And former coach Tom Dosh, who was coach at Northern State there for 9 years, will take over now as the head coach of the University of Jamestown. Dosh is coach wherever. UND, he was with Bubba at Carbondale. He won 53 games at Northern. He was the head coach of the University of Jamestown from 2004 to 2007, led the Jimmies to 25 wins, back-to-back trips to the NAIA playoffs. So that is the leadership change going on at the University of Jamestown, which happens in mid-June. Not necessarily great timing, but Dosh has been an assistant coach, and Mistro's talked about having Tom on staff the several times that Brian has been on our program. So some changes there, and we will effort to get both guys on in the not-too-distant future because they're heading into year 2 now of Division II. First year of eligibility is coming up as well, so we'll talk with them. But that's the new changes out at University of Jamestown. Brian Mistro moving from the sidelines where he has been for the better part of, I want to say, almost a decade that he's been the head coach at UJ. And anybody that has seen Brian, known Brian, heard Brian talk, he bleeds orange. So to now run the athletic department, I'm sure he's got to be thrilled about that. But we'll get him on in the not too distant future to talk about that. And now Tom Dosh taking over as head football coach for Jamestown. That's the big news. So here you go. Little Monday news dump for us here in the middle of the show. We're cool with that. We'll break. We come back. Our guy Jeff Kolpack will join us to chat about the new Bison president. Got a chance to visit with him, and also the brave new world NDSU's heading into, the video game world. That's coming up when we start hour 2 after this.
This is Hot Mike.
Hot Mike.
On the networks of WDAY.
WDAY.
Here's Dom Izzo. It's that time. An author.
Offensive production, number 1. Number 2. Forgot.
Golfer.
It'd be like going on a 3-person best shot, and we were saying, Kolpack, you got to make a 25-footer every time. You wouldn't putt first. I'd have Tim putt first.
And one heck of a TV personality.
This game is for the Cooper Cup.
It's the Forum's Jeff Kolpack.
4. I should have yelled 2.
All right, here is everybody. Jeff Kolpack starts our week in the second hour. His appearances are brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. Happy Monday, my man. How are you?
Happy Monday.
So I want to get a couple of big picture stories that you don't necessarily cover, but you cover college football. Your initial reaction when you heard the UND story and what went down Friday and what the NCAA decided to do.
What a joke. My initial reaction was I thought about Southern Utah, which got put on probation for tampering like 3 years ago.
They did.
Before they finished like 2-10.
Southern Utah had some major issues going on, too. Their athletic director was not a good person. He got fired there, too.
And I think you addressed it in the first hour. Like, really? Who's not doing it? I mean,
We've talked about this.
Oh, my goodness.
We've talked about, like, flights have been set up or, like, how did a guy go in and then a day later have a decision made? Like, that doesn't happen, right? It just came to me. Like, no. They were talking to you for days or weeks at a time.
Oh, you've had coaches out there, who was it, that have flat out said, you're tampering with my guys. Was it?
Dave Richmond said it on our show.
Yeah. Quit tampering with my guys.
Correct.
I mean,
the fact UND
big old NCAA really hammering on FCS UND when all these majors have been doing it freely for years.
Again, the ironic part of it today, literally the Brennan Sorsby case, a judge grants an injunction for him to play. He literally bet on his team. That is the biggest no-no that you can have. And that's the juxtaposition we're dealing with here this morning. It's unbelievable.
And to the NCAA, pick on somebody your own size.
Well, right. I mean, they're not going to do that to Georgia. They're not going to do that to Auburn, right? They're just not going to do that. That's the part that's so ridiculous to me. And
apparently it's just emails, and they self-reported it.
Correct.
Just give them probation.
Right.
I mean.
But the thing is, they got hammered here with 1 week they can't talk to anybody in January in the portal window. That's tough. When you're an FCS school and you know you're going to be any good and you're losing guys, that's the week where at least how we understood it.
That is
contact people.
That in this day and age is lowering the hammer.
Yes.
Absolutely.
They lose 3% of on-site visits. That's a big deal. You know that in the recruiting stuff we cover. When they get on campus, that's when the hammer comes down and says, hey, we want you to commit.
Yeah, again, pick on somebody your own size. I mean, if you're going to really do that, then do it.
Yeah.
Then go to Texas Tech or A&M or all these schools.
Good schools to start with right there. There's two good ones right there. What the heck's going on?
What a joke.
Yeah, just shake my head on that. The other one also happened on Friday, and I'm not sure what's bigger, so I'll ask you. Is it Drew Kessel committing to North Dakota State or Drew Kessel transferring to Moorhead?
Yeah, both.
What's the bigger one?
Well, both. I don't know if you can separate it, but certainly right now it's transferring to Moorhead High. And, so Moorhead's taken some hockey players over the years. And
they have done that.
Resident, now you're taking our football players.
That Moorhead team is going to be something else.
Can they stop anybody?
That's the question I have.
It's going to be the most dynamic offense, certainly in the history of Moorhead High and in Minnesota.
I mean, Drew is 2 inches taller than Reese, and you've seen Reese is all of 6'5". Drew's, I think, all of 6'7". This is a major win for Polisek, Kolpack. I mean, if he's saying no to Michigan and Wisconsin, and I know the brother combination, but Kansas State, Iowa State, this is a legit big-time win for the Bison.
Absolutely the biggest recruiting score
of this class.
Yes. Well, I think in Tim Polisek's short tenure here at NDSU as the head coach.
The fact that he had the amount of offers he did, and obviously it didn't hurt that the families here. I've gotten to know the Kessels a little bit. I think mom certainly didn't want to have to maybe go to two separate locales. I don't know how big a deal that played in it, but Drew's got all the ability. I mean, you could see he's a great pass catcher. And now to go work with a quarterback that we know in Jet Feeney is going to go play, and that's no slight to what Fargo South had, but I'll remind everybody, Fargo South does not play in the top class of North Dakota football, and I think that was part of that for Drew Kessel as well.
Well, here's my question on Moorhead High now going into next year. Can you stop anybody? And I'm serious about that because they'll score at will. I mean, they may score too quick. Like boom, 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 touchdown, and then if somebody comes back with a 13-play drive,
right. Yeah,
that's the only way you're going to beat them. I shouldn't say. I mean, I'm sure the metro schools they play the heavy hitters.
They do. They play all of them.
They have guys too.
I mean, we're going to see every top-notch program in the Twin Cities is coming here. The reigning state champs are coming here. Minnetonka is coming here. Who thinks they lost in the semifinals? Eden Prairie is coming here this year.
That's going to be a tough ticket to get, or at least it should be a tough ticket to get. I mean,
the 4 home games they have are 4 of the most preeminent football programs in the state. Let's just end it right there. And now you have 5 FBS players on your roster. That's pretty legit stuff of what's going on there.
That's got to be, again, what a great story.
Pressure from Mr. Feeney. Better got to win it. And they will be the favorites. I think they were going to be the favorites regardless if Drew was playing at South or not. I think they were going to be the preseason number 1 team.
I mean, obviously you got to stay healthy, which Jet didn't last year.
That's exactly right. So we'll see. But that's commit number 19. They have not even had any of their camps yet. NDSU I'm talking about. That happens at the end of this week. The fact that they have that many, I was talking with a couple of recruiting guys at NDSU saying this is all earlier now. You know, we made a big deal when the Bison would get a recruit in the summer. You remember that? That wasn't that long ago. Now they got almost 20 guys.
Who was the receiver? 2007. Yeah, a kid out of the Twin Cities. Like committed in June.
And that was a big deal.
Yeah,
now it's like, well, if you don't have, and the UND's even got 11, which is a lot for an FCS school at this point. This is how the calendar has changed, and the fact now that kids aren't even waiting around to get to camp. They want to make a decision and be done with it, and that's obviously what happened with Drew.
Yeah, and I guess will camps continue to be a thing at NDSU? I suppose for the younger classes now, you just bump it up a year.
Right.
So
now they're looking at 28 guys now.
If you're going in to be a junior,
correct,
you may want to go to camp
correct,
now.
Amundo. Absolutely. That's what they're looking at now is, okay, well, we're done with 27. Let's start looking who are the 28 guys. And then NDSU has more than a handful of 2028 offers already out.
So on the flip side, though, let me just throw this at you, that I think there's a risk in this, too. And I think the University of Texas went through this a long time ago, where they were getting like freshmen and sophomores to commit.
Yep.
The problem is, and I'm talking about Longhorns here, the problem is some kids in Texas didn't develop after their sophomore year in high school. And so 3 years later, they end up walking on and enrolling, or not walking on, but enrolling in Austin, and just not very good or developed. They never continued to develop.
They plateaued, yes.
And so, again, NDSU needs to, and Tim knows this is not rocket science, but you have to keep your eye on that senior who comes on his senior year in high school, the Joe Hags of the world.
Yep, you still have, I think you have to have some flexibility, have some spots open to take a guy who blows up in his senior year, or maybe even a local player and say, yeah, we were unsure, and then he had a great year, to have some flexibility, to have some available roster movement for that. Absolutely. Because you can get tied to metrics and numbers and see this kid who's a sophomore come here in the summer of 2026, and then by the time it gets to the fall of 2028, well, did he get any better? Between that is that's a big risk you take there.
I mean, what would Tim Miles used to say if a kid had facial hair as a freshman in high school? Probably wasn't interested because he's done growing.
That guy's full of wisdom. That guy's got so many.
Guy had a full beard as a sophomore. I'm not sure I want him anymore.
I don't even know what to say to that. Here's a full old man warning. I'm going to put it out there right now. The story I did this weekend, Kolpack, I have not played a video game, admittedly, in 30 years. And I'm 47, right? Since my senior year of high school. But the fact that North Dakota State is in the college football 27 video game is maybe bigger than any. When we talked to the players at the press conference in February, to a T, all four of them said, cannot wait that we're going to be in the EA college video game, which now the trailer came out Thursday, and NDSU is in it. I don't know if you're a video game guy, but this is a big, big deal, my man.
As the beat guy, as somebody who is north of 60 years old, I try my best to stay in tune with what's going on with the players these days and what's trending and all this. I'm kind of with you that video games have outpassed me. I am not a video game player. In high school, remember the Galega?
Yeah.
I was a star at that game. We'd be at the Bump and Tilt in South University Drive, Fargo. I'd be playing. I'd be sweating bullets after a few games. You know, you're just doing that machine so hard. And I was pretty good at it.
They've come a long way from Galaga to this. I'm going to tell you that right now. And there's big time money. That's what I found out as part of this, that is the more you play as North Dakota State, the more royalties the school will receive. Most State got $100,000 last. Most State. If Most State gets $100K, what do you think NDSU could get?
Yeah, my kids were video gamers for a little bit. I mean, not intense, but they would play their share, and I'd go down and try it a little bit. I'd just get drilled. And it wasn't much fun because we're all competitive in everything we do.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to get beat 50-2.
This is something that's a big, big deal. From what the NDSU told me, they've sent in info for 63
what's
guys.
Big money? What do you describe big money
So
as?
we're talking mid to high six figures could come the school's way, depending on, again, they're going to get a whole promotional campaign out there to let people know. The game comes out July 9th, so about a month from now. And the more you play it, the more royalties come the way of NDSU. And frankly, the more you play a certain player, they are going to get paid as well. Though right now, EA pays whoever's in the game $1,500 because that is literally name, image, and likeness that they're using in the video game. That's how it all started, whatever it was, 5 or 6 years ago. But the more you play, if you select Donovan Woolen, he could get potentially more than the $1,500 if they use him more in said game.
So that's another revenue stream that NDSU has. And I heard this down at the Summer League basketball tournament in March, that people are going to wonder now, not right away, but once NDSU gets fully developed in FBS in 2032, when all the revenue streams come their way, like the media money.
The actual TV money they can get.
TV money. This is another stream. And it's going to leave, and people are wondering if that FBS money will translate into other sports like basketball, where you get more funding, and will that be I'm not saying unfair advantage, but that will be an advantage.
Yeah.
If it all comes
to fruition like that. Yep, totally.
NDSU will be playing in the Summit League as an only FBS school.
Right.
And there's that FBS funding. And will that filter down to the basketball programs? It certainly could.
It's just another part of this story. You know, every way you turn, there's a new angle to cover. Like in FCS, we had covered everything.
Mm-hmm.
We knew it like the back of our hands. Here, it's like, all right, here's something else that we didn't know about. This is a huge, I mean, the amount of feedback I got in this story is one of the top ones I've done in a long, long time from people that play it.
By the
and know it.
players?
Players,
readers,
viewers, listeners, the whole 9 yards, wondering what the Fargo Dome is going to look like. And Troy Gergen, NDSU associate AD, told me they sent about 1,200 different videos and photos of it. It's not going to be exact, and that's a big thing. And I try to make this and the story readily known. It's going to have some aspects of the dome, but it's not going to be complete. The version that comes out a year from now will look like the Fargo Dome. And I think that's another part of this that people are dying to see.
Let's hope someday it looks like a renovated Fargo Dome.
With the appropriate seating in the press box to go to the bathroom and all that kind of good stuff.
Not holding my breath.
So, there's the other big story. So there it is. Old man warning over on video games.
On these drawings and stuff they sent for the video game,
yeah.
Is there a photo of me by the elevator waiting for it to come up?
I don't know how exact this is. Again, I haven't
Sweating
played
bullets. I'm going to be late to the press conference.
I haven't
because the elevator is so slow.
I haven't played a college.
I can walk down on one hand
because I haven't played the last video game I play. The little guy plays Super Mario Kart right now. That's as close as I'm getting. I haven't played a sports video game since Madden in 1995, maybe. I haven't played one of these. I'm going to have to now. Can we expense it for work?
Is there a picture of the Bison coach's box with 12 people cramped into a space for 4?
Eric, how much does this run? Can I expense this for work? Would that get red flagged upstairs? How much will this cost?
I think if you pre-order it, it's like 60 or 70.
Oh, that's nothing. We can do that. It's for work purposes.
We got to learn how to play.
Right, it's for work purposes.
I will have the game probably by the time it comes out, so I'll bring in my old Xbox.
Can we do this live? This will be great TV. Dom versus Jeff live on TV.
Oh yeah, that'll be
NCAA football 27. Is that what it is?
The best comparison for like guys of your age would be like when Tecmo Bowl came out.
What do you mean your age? What are you talking about?
Well, first off, Kolpack's way older than I am. Let's just get that out of it. Let's just get that way out of the. But yes, well, $60. I'm going to put that on the company right now.
I'll play it.
Flag it here. There we go. Let's do it. Let's break. When we come back, you sat down with the new school president, Marshall Stewart. So we'll get Kolpack's thoughts from that conversation. His thoughts on moving to the Mountain West and FBS. He comes from an FBS school in the Big 12. We'll do that when Hot Mike returns after this.
This is Hot Mike with Dom Izzo, presented by Northwestern Mutual.
Welcome back, everybody. How about another little Monday news dump, Kolpack, out of University of Minnesota, that apparently the long standoff is finally over. The University of Minnesota and St. Thomas have agreed to play basketball. Gophers and the Tommies will play on the men's side on November the 6th. And on the women's side, of course, Mandy Pearson is the new head coach of the St. Thomas women on December the 1st. Both games at Williams Arena. We've been hearing this for 5 years since St. Thomas made the move to Division I.
Now, how about we get rid of the standoff between Bison football and Gopher football? Yeah. Wouldn't that be something?
Here's what's going to happen.
What?
They will play, but it'll be in a bowl game. That's where it's going to happen. That's going to send people over there. You know what? I'm telling you right now. And it may happen this year. We'll find out in a couple weeks if the Division I cabinet
got to win
off.
6 games first.
But we still don't even know the official Mountain West tie-ins yet. That has not been revealed. So, because I've had people ask me, well, Dom, I thought it was going to come out Wednesday. They did, but the Mountain West is still negotiating with the bowls about where to send its champion. The last year, the LA Bowl had the Mountain West champion. That bowl is gone. So right as of 10:23 on a Monday, we don't know where the Mountain West champion goes if they don't go to the college football playoff, Kolpack. That's still up in the air right now.
And to think in January, we weren't even thinking about this stuff.
No.
It wasn't even a thought.
No. Now,
Willie McFeely, he was dreaming about it.
The bowl destinations, from what we've been told, that a majority of them are going to stay with the same affiliation they were a year ago. So the Potato Bowl in Idaho, New Mexico Bowl, Hawaii and Honolulu will keep with the Mountain West tie-in. We believe the Arizona Bowl, which is Snoop Dogg's bowl at Fresno State and Matt Entz won a year ago, that one stays. But after that, the Frisco Bowl is going to keep one. That's where it's going to happen. Imagine that at the Star, University of Minnesota playing North Dakota State.
They would pack the Star. That'd be a tough ticket to
There'd be
get.
people outside,
Yes.
man. They're going to be a room in there.
They'd actually, the Star is not big.
No,
you and I have been
10,000 maybe.
They need to. That would be too
If
small.
it was that matchup. Now let me throw this at you. If it's North Dakota State playing Western Kentucky on December 23rd, how many Bison fans do you think go? Because the last time we were in Frisco, what was it, 5,000 maybe went for the Montana State game?
I think for this they would take 10,000. They would sell it out.
Think so?
It'd be a tough ticket to get.
I don't know how I feel about it. If it's Frisco again, like, all right, we've been there, done that.
But this is different.
But it is different.
It's FBS. It's a first FBS bowl. If it was year after year at a bowl game at Frisco, no.
So the other bowl that's out there is the Cactus Bowl, which is the former Rate Bowl that's now being played in Tempe at Arizona State's campus.
That'd be fun.
That's one that has the Big 10 and the Big 12 tie-in. And if one of them can't fill it, like last year, remember, Kansas State opted out when Kleiman quit, and Iowa State opted out when Matt Campbell left or ran out of players, then the Mountain West would be the backup.
That would be.
Are you kidding me?
I've been to Tempe several times, and what a fun area to have a bowl game.
Right.
First of all, the stadium's just really cool, but it's just a fun area. It's a cool area.
That would be complete. That could be against a Big 10 or a Big 12 team. So in your scenario, just to wrap up that point, that's when they play Minnesota, is a bowl game. That's not going to happen in the regular season. I don't foresee that happening, but I do foresee it in a bowl game.
No,
yeah,
not while PJ continues to get pay raises every year.
Yeah, well, PJ, I'll say this: he's doing a heck of a job. We're going to talk to a guy he got out of this
unbeaten
area.
in bowl games.
He's doing pretty well. You had a chance to meet the new president at North Dakota State, Dr. Marshall Stewart.
Yeah,
what did we get of impressions
Well,
from
we
him?
sat down over 7 pitchers of beer at Chubb's Pub. No, just kidding.
Now that'd be a conversation.
No, just kidding. No, he said all the right things, I thought, and obviously very tied into athletics, coming from K-State, coming from Missouri, coming from North Carolina State, knows football, knows athletics, knows. And I thought it was interesting that he was talking about how more intricately involved a college university president is these days into fundraising.
Yeah.
And that's academics and athletics. And so you are much more a guy who's you're a fundraiser because you need the cash, you need the funds, and that's the way things are operating. Gonna let Matt Larson run his show. He made that clear. He'll be involved, but he won't.
Yeah.
He lets his people do, just like he told me the provost. You let the provost run the academic department, and you let the athletic director run the athletic department.
Is he going to be, you think, as visible as David Cook was? Cook was at everything.
I don't know.
Everything.
I think
whether
the potential's
it was sports
there.
or not,
yeah,
he was there.
Yeah, everything I heard on talking to Gene Taylor, he said this guy just gets around. He's always involved. So I don't have any doubts for that. I would bet he would probably be at most football games, just like Brashani was, just like David Cook was. So and Chapman, I have no doubt that he will be that kind of a president.
This is an interesting time he's coming into because everything's set up for him, right? Cook did all the heavy lifting to get NDSU in there. Now it's, all right, you're taking over. The train's already left the station, so to speak, on the FBS stuff. What did he have to say about that?
Well, and I asked him, I go, do you think the funding is there for FBS? And he said after he's already talked to donors as he probably should have.
Yep.
He's had extensive talks with the big donors, and he does believe that the funding is there for FBS football and to be good. And he actually made me, what was his quote? And he said the word win twice in back-to-back sentences.
Really?
So
okay. Well, he comes obviously from Kansas State, and I know you talked to Gene about him. What did Gene have to say about Stewart's background?
Nothing but great things, and I got to believe Gene was part of the equation in him getting this job.
Part of the hiring process here.
But he goes, he's really good with state legislatures. He's good with politicians.
That's good.
And that will serve you well.
Totally here. Yep.
Because Gene said in Kansas, it's the same setup. You have Kansas State, you have Kansas. Here you have NDSU, you have UND.
Yep.
Then you have smaller four-year schools. Same setup. how are you spending the money? How are you going to get your funding? Where is it going?
Right.
And so I think that'll serve him well and especially, and we've seen that job, university president, have conflicts with state legislatures, especially the ones in western North Dakota.
Right. And this one now, this job has even more of a lightning rod attached to it because of what's happening. They're going and knowing the money is going to be where it's at. It's already going to get more attention at the school simply because of how much North Dakota State's going to have to spend to go into this new league.
I think, and the money all goes back to Joe Chapman, who once said, why, and he's talking about we, the university, not me, why should we apologize for being able to pay people?
Mm-hmm. Right.
You shouldn't.
Yeah.
That's the way it's.
You want to attract good people to come to a worthy job, you got to pay them.
You're not going to pay them $200K, not the head coach.
No, that's not going to. No, you can, but you ain't going to be very good. You could certainly do that, but then you also you reap what you sow on that. Then you probably aren't going to be very good. The proof will be in the pudding to see how this goes. I haven't had a chance to formally introduce myself yet. I'll be looking forward to do that and see where it goes because this is an interesting time for NDSU. This is basically the last week of the year, of the athletic calendar year with what's going on. We and I both talked with both of the decathletes. They're going to go to the NCAA championships this week.
What
and
great stories.
Zach McGlynn and Paul Olson are both fantastic. Both local guys, Stephen, Minnesota.
Both so well-spoken. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's good stuff there. But after that, the next big NDSU story will come from the cabinet in a couple weeks because it looks like as well that 5-for-5 deal that we thought when Matt Larston told us both that this is down the road. It's happening now for this coming year.
And we're not that far off from Mountain West Media Days in Vegas. Yep. I mean, that's just right around the corner.
So it's bearing down on us. So lots of decisions and another new part of all this coming for NDSU football. Thanks for coming in, bud.
Absolutely. Good to see you.
Jeff Kolpack joins us each and every Monday at 10 o'clock. His appearances are brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. We'll break. We come back. We'll head to the Twin Cities and visit with Kindred standout Riley Sunram as he gets ready for year 3 playing for PJ Fleck and the Gophers. That's coming up when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. Final half hour here on a busy Monday show, getting our week off to a roaring start. So we were visited last week with a Kindred football standout that's going to be playing FBS football in the not-too-distant future. We had Luke Starcevic on our show last week announcing his commitment to go play at Clemson in the ACC. He is the latest in a long line of Kindred guys that are playing football somewhere. Our next guest, I like to say he started this trend a few years ago because I remember we had him on the show when things started to blow up for him, and now he's starting ready for his 3rd year of college football. Kindred's Riley Sunram joins us, Minnesota Golden Gopher defensive lineman on the show this morning. I'm going to do the remember when I remember talking to you like the first couple offers that came in, and NDSU, and I think the Gophers were soon after. What do you remember about that and how crazy it got afterwards?
Yeah, I mean, that was a long time ago. But that summer was honestly just a full blessing. It was just a world of emotions that summer, getting the offer from NDSU after camp, and then following that was UND, and then obviously Minnesota at the end of the summer. But I think that was just a kind of wake-up moment for me back then, just to show I could really do this thing. And just from then on, it's been a journey, and it's been super fun.
Well, it's great to see you, bud. Thanks so much for making time here today. Tell me about first 2 years at Minnesota. How's this gone for you and getting ready now for year 3?
Yeah, so coming into Minnesota, I was a North Dakota kid, so I had a lot of growth to do. First year, I tore my shoulder, so I had surgery for that. But that was honestly one of the biggest growing moments for me because I just got to watch and observe and learn from everyone else. And then last year, coming off that surgery, I was really just getting my feet wet, learning everything I could. I thought I grew a lot last year, got a lot stronger. Because it was hard for me to, lift and everything with a bum shoulder and everything like that. I mean, my legs got a lot bigger, but it's just been super fun. I've had guys like Devin Easter and Nate Becker in front of me last year, and they taught me so much. And just going off of them, I got coached a lot from them and taking everything I could from them. And now it's do what I can this year. So
I know you got a chance to play at Ohio State at Iowa, at Oregon. Just those three alone are three of the most iconic places ever. I know you're in the moment, but did you take a sense just to look around and say, I'm here?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely did. It's a crazy experience just getting in there, but I mean, you can't make the moment bigger than it is. You're just playing football at the end of the day, but it was a really cool experience. I'm glad I get to do it.
Which one was one that you had to stop and say, okay, this is pretty cool? Was there one that stood out?
I would say Ohio State definitely stood out to me. I looked up and it just didn't seem real how big the stadium was. It was really cool. So
now it seems like old hat, but I mean, not that long ago you were playing, Valley City. Now you're playing at Ohio State. I mean, have you let that go through your mind?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's definitely surreal. But I'm here now. I gotta do it. So I'm just blessed to be here.
So let's talk about the off season here, Riley. What you guys go through, like once school is done, what is the last couple weeks? What's the next month, 6 weeks look like prior to getting ready for fall camp?
Yeah, so after spring ball, we have a little 4 weeks off, so I got to enjoy some time off. But I mean, last week was our first week, so it's just summer workouts. So we're doing stuff Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I mean, it's hard workouts, but you're definitely getting some time off, but you're also getting time to, work on your personal craft. But we're doing this till about the end of July, and then we start fall camp, and then it's all up from there. So
describe how spring ball went and expectations, your own expectations now for year 3 to say, okay, I'm healthy, I'm ready to start contributing.
Yeah, so this is kind of my first spring ball because last spring ball I only had 2 weeks of full go. So, I mean, spring ball is pretty long, but you learn a lot about yourself, just how long it is and what you have to grow on. So I learned there's a lot of things I got to get better at, and that's kind of what the summer's for, just to work on those things. But spring ball was really good for me. Transfers coming in, they really fit in with us, and I'm even learning from them, from the guys from Marshall. So we got a great group here, so it's been really fun.
How are your own expectations? Like, all right, not trying to put too much pressure on yourself. Like, okay, I'm ready. I want the coaches to see me, pay attention, say I deserve to get in the game and play some more reps.
Yeah, I mean, with me, it's just being consistent every day. That's what I always drive myself upon, just being consistent every day, getting 1% better every day. Because, I mean, if you're getting better every day and being consistent, you can't really ask for much else. So,
what are your own what do you, I guess, gauge for the upcoming year? Okay, fall camp's coming. It's hard to maybe put a number on, okay, I want to be here on the depth chart. How do you do that for your own personal goals? Obviously, you want the team to do well, but for your own personal goals, what do you have set for fall camp here in a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to play a lot this year. We got guys beside me that are really good too. I really like working with them, and there's really just us group of guys, and whoever's out there has to perform, and that's really how I think about it. So.
Kind of wild to see yourself playing. Carter Menz had an unbelievable year from West Fargo Cheyenne on the defensive side of the ball. What's it say for a couple of North Dakota guys getting a chance to play in the Big Ten right now?
Yeah, it's awesome. It really shows that North Dakota can play. So.
What's the level of football? I mean, did you have to tell guys, like, hey, we can play? Like, did you get that sense from your teammates when you got down there?
And to be honest, we don't really got to tell people. I feel like we're just starting to show them how we – so
you mentioned here you got fall camp coming up here in a little bit. What's a day like for you in terms of how much workout do you do? Do you ramp up as it get closer to fall camp? Give us kind of a daily schedule if you could.
Yeah, so like the first week is kind of a ramp up week, so the workouts weren't as tough. But each week goes on, it gets tougher. We get into prime condition, everything like that. So we're doing a ton of reps, a ton of sprints, stuff like that. But a day for me is like Monday, we have workouts in the afternoon, so I get breakfast in the morning, kind of just chill out till we get to workouts. Get in an hour early, do some extra recovery and stuff, and then work out and do some recovery after. But that's really it.
How much is it just a grind right now, man? Just to get through, like, all right, that's another day to get, check off the to-do list.
Yeah, it's always a grind. It's always football all throughout the year. But I mean, this is technically our time off. Yeah. This is our off, and so we got a lot of free time. But when we go, we got to go. So
anything, Riley, that stood out the first couple of years, may not necessarily surprise you. Like maybe you weren't expecting when you got to Minnesota, whether it be on the field or off the field. Anything jump out when I ask you that?
One thing that definitely jumps out to me is just it seems like there's a lot of fans in the stadium all the time, but like when you're on the field, it's just it almost like you just blurt it out. Like it's not even, it's kind of weird, but it just, because we play crowd noise at our practices, so you get used to the loud noises, and when you're on the field, you're just playing football. So
all right, this is the question I get asked all the time. You live it. So is Coach Fleck exactly how he looks? Like when you see him in a press conference setting or he's getting interviewed on TV, is he the same there as he is with you guys?
Yes, he's always the same. He said he always will be the same, and when he can't be, he will be done coaching. So that's all him. He's all energetic and everything. So he's great.
How is that for you guys to handle? Like he never turns off. What is that like as a coach?
Yeah, that's just who he is. We're definitely used to it, but I think it's great for us because the standard's always a standard, so we're always living up to that.
So I know you're in the bubble here, but I want to say a month and a half ago, The Athletic did a story. They went to Kindred, North Dakota, because there's two, as you know, guys playing there. They're going to be playing FBS football. One's going to be a teammate of yours, and Brooks Baco, who committed to Minnesota a couple months ago. Did you see that? And B, what does it mean to have the national spotlight on Kindred, North Dakota?
Yeah, it's awesome for Kindred. Those two guys they're great guys. I had 1 year to play with them, and I could definitely just see their potential when I was there, just how they work and how they hold themselves. They're two great kids. So
it's funny how when you were coming up, when you were getting ready to graduate, had you heard of either one of the? And I'm sure you know the older Star Civic, but had you heard of Brooks at all when you were graduated from Kindred?
Yeah, he played as a freshman, and he played as an 8th grader in basketball, so he was definitely someone you knew in Kindred. So. But yeah, he's a great kid.
So now to have the Vikings be as regarded as they are, I think when you came out like, wow, Kindred getting a gopher, that's never going to happen again. Now it's almost a routine. Can you tell me about that? About the basically a pipeline that you started?
Yeah, it's. I think it's the coaches there. The coaches do a great job. The strength staff, Coach Heinze, Coach Burgad, they just do a great job of bringing out the best in people, and it's obviously showed with us. And they do a great job there. So, was
there a moment you remember in the recruiting process? I think I asked you about this, but you could tell it again, where either a team was coming by school, like, is this real? Is this happening? Is one story come to mind?
It's all the coaches coming to Kindred. It was just cool, and it was amazing. Just having those coaches in Kindred, it didn't seem real. Just those big names and little Kindred, North Dakota, with a population of over 1,000, whatever it is, but. It was a crazy experience. So,
last thing for you, bud, I appreciate you doing this morning. Have they told you, the staff, of where they see you on the D line, on the edge and interior, or do you prefer it? Give me your thoughts on that at the end of this year.
Yeah, so usually the last 2 years I was only a 1 tech, but with Coach Robbins this year, he wants to kind of hybrid train us into 1 and a 3 tech. So even this spring ball, I tried it out. I've been playing a little 1 and 3 tech, so that's been pretty fun. But
how's that transition gone?
It's not anything crazy different. There's a couple different balls, but I've played 4 tech in high school, so I've played on the edge before. But it's definitely fun. It's a little new experience for me just to get outside a little bit more.
Now, I don't know if they need a wrinkle, but if you want, I can send you some video of you catching the ball if they want to use you on offense. Have you told them about your hands? Like, you got some good hands, you could do that?
No, I haven't, but I can talk about my kicking too. So.
Yeah, if they need you to pinch, right? You can do that, right?
For sure.
Oh, man. It's great to catch up, bud. Have a great summer. Stay healthy, and we'll catch up down the road, okay?
Thanks for your time.
Good to see you, man. There he is, Riley Sunram from Kindred, North Dakota, heading into his redshirt sophomore season with the University of Minnesota. And, it was a blast last year. We had Carter Menz on during the football season of what a year he had, just coming up as a redshirt freshman last year on their defensive line. And you got to give full credit to P.J. Fleck, what he's done up here. That used to be such a slam dunk for NDSU. It wasn't even funny that the top player in North Dakota would be a Bison, and that is not the case anymore. There is legit competition, and frankly, Minnesota's won out. They've gotten Sunram in 23. They got Carter Menz in 24. Kate Petschak they got in 25 is actually a Husker. That's the competition. You could argue now in 26 and 27, the top guys there. I think Drew Kessel might be near the top in 27, depending on what recruiting service you look at. Baco would get a lot of consideration. Henick would get a lot of consideration out at Stanley. But, It's just not a rubber stamp. It used to be that way, and it is not the case anymore. Appreciate him coming on. That was good stuff. All right, we'll take our final break. We come back. We'll wrap things up. We got a couple emails we want to get to, and we'll get you ready for a pretty good Sports Monday, including Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Hot Mike wraps on WDAY Extra after this. All right, wrapping things up here on a Monday morning. Good show today. A lot of little breaking news to be thrown in. Always makes it fun. Tomorrow, or Wednesday's show, you'll meet NDSU decathlete Zach McGlynn will join us in anticipation of him competing in the NCAA decathlon. That starts Wednesday night in Eugene, Oregon. Looking forward to watching Zach compete. That's coming up on Wednesday. Why do I think I have something for tomorrow and I can't remember it? That's why I have to write it down. I know we have something else scheduled for tomorrow as well. So join us like you always do. It'll be a fun show coming up then. Let's get a few emails in. And actually, before we do that, this tweet from Pat Forty from Sports Illustrated and Yahoo is so good. It totally encapsulates everything we're dealing with right now with college football, dealing with the Brendan Sorsby case. The existential questions of the offseason in college football. Do we want rules? Do we want to be governed? In Lubbock, Texas, the answer is no. Brendan Sorsby is, for now, eligible to play in 2026 at Texas Tech. A complete travesty. Bam. That's I don't blame any fan for being frustrated or tuned out or doesn't want to watch. Actually, let me take the last part out. We know people are watching, but get completely frustrated and angry about what's happening because the people that are supposed to run it, the adults in the room, cannot make it a decision to save their lives. And so we're left with just chaos where we're going to Congress hat in hand to try to help out and figure this out, and we know that ain't going to work. It just isn't. It's just and the game has never been more popular. On the field, it has never been more popular. Off the field, it is a dumpster fire times 11. It is just, you cannot make sense of it. For shows like mine, it makes for great fodder. Especially on June 8th, man, this is like pennies from heaven. We're getting this kind of content right now. But it's like every day you wake up like, all right, what's the next thing that's going to come down that makes absolutely no sense and everybody's going to muck it up and we're not going to have a decision on, It's been like 2 weeks since anybody's talked about the college football playoffs. So I'm sure that's going to come back and we're going to get that back in the headlines in the not too distant future. Just, wow. I love it, but man, it can't get out of its own way. Dom, I think a Frisco Bowl attendance number will depend upon the opponent. Let me read that again. I think a Frisco Bowl attendance number will depend upon the opponent. I don't see a lot more fans making that trip again for Western Kentucky. I tend to agree with that. I think if that's the bowl game that NDSU makes, tell me who they're playing. Is it Mo State? Is it somebody of that Sam Houston, or we already know what the attendance number will be for that. Now, if it's a different bowl and it's a potential of a low Power 4, then I think we're talking big time numbers. Like if Purdue or I don't know, give me somebody that's mediocre, Mississippi State, I don't know, Vanderbilt. Well, Vanderbilt's gotten good at football. Somebody in that. Now Oklahoma State's all right. They'll spend money. They're out of that realm. Somebody in that, Kentucky, which wouldn't go to a bowl game like that, but that's what I'm talking about in that realm. That could be pretty good. That would get people to go. Western Kentucky, maybe not. Let's do some what to watch before we get out of here. All right, what to watch brought to us by our friends at Northwestern Mutual. Don't forget, we got game number 3 tonight. Spurs of the Knicks, 7:30 on WDAY. Knicks trying to go up 3-0 on San Antonio. We'll see if the Spurs can get on the board. It's going to be electric at Madison Square Garden tonight for that one. Coming up here at the top of the hour, the resumption of the Alabama-St. John's game. Alabama leads that game 8-2. It's on ESPN2. Alabama wins. They're going to the College World Series. If St. John somehow rallies, we get a Game 3 later today. And also, Yankees and Guardians coming up. Twins are off today after the first time in 2.5 weeks. That's at 5:30 on FS1. Our thanks to Tom Miller, to Jeff Kolpack, and to Riley Sunram for joining us. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at inforum.com. You can watch a full replay on WDAY+. Thanks so much for starting your week with us, everybody. Have a magical Monday. We'll see you back here tomorrow.